What's up, everyone? In today's video, we're going to take a look at the 50 games that changed the world by Bitmap Books. All right, you guys, we've got our hands on another book from Bitmap Books. So let's open this thing up and see what we've got. Just like everything else we've gotten from Bitmap Books, the packaging is incredible. You've seen the outer layer that I just removed. That's to keep it from getting any moisture or anything inside. And now we've got this cardboard inside that surrounds the book to keep it from getting beat up. All right, everyone, here it is, 50 indie games that changed the world. Now, this looks great, just like every other book that we've gotten from these guys. This is a nice hardcover book. The artwork looks excellent. It's got this gold foil that reflects on the front, on the title. That looks nice and neat. Go around to the end, that same gold foil up along the side of it here. We've got the Bitmap Books logo in the bottom. And then around the back, we've got this neat little barcode here that's got 50 on it. That's pretty cool. Games made by independent developers outside of the typical studio system have existed since the advent of video games themselves. Only with the introduction of digital downloads and easy-to-access game engines, however, was the potential for indie games truly unlocked. 50 indie games that changed the world is the ultimate celebration of this era, telling the stories of 50 of the most influential indie games of all time, using original interviews, commentary, and perspectives from the people who made them. With a foreword by Mike Bithell, this beautifully laid out and extensively researched book documents the genesis of some of the best indie games ever made, from intense roguelikes like Hades, Rogue Legacy, and Spelunky, to emotional heavyweights like Limbo, Journey, and Hyper Light Drifter. It's an unabashed deep dive into the effort and creativity it takes to get an indie game made, either as a small team or an ambitious solo developer. Spanning a myriad of different genres and art styles, these are the titles responsible for birthing the modern indie game scene as we know it today. All right, now let's open this thing up and see what we've got inside. 50 indie games that changed the world. Writing an original concept by Aaron Potter. So here we've got the contents. 1 is preface, 2 is foreword, 3 introduction, 4 the 50 indie games, 5 honorable mentions, 6 games index, 7 thanks, and 8 credits. Here's the preface. Let's see what they have to say. Welcome to this celebration of 50 of the most influential and groundbreaking indie games. When we were approached by Aaron a few years ago with the idea of an indie games book, our initial reaction was to question the idea. Bitmap Books mainly focuses on books about retro games. And while we've covered more modern games over the years, on the whole, it's our love for all things retro that tends to inspire our titles. Was it the right kind of book for us to take on? After some contemplation, though, a book about the indie games was exactly what we should be doing. Why? For us, indie games are the closest thing you can get nowadays to how game development used to be at the start of the industry. Lone programmers making games from their bedrooms. No bloated development teams, little to no corporate influence, and the majority of the work done by a single developer or small team who can experiment and let their creativity run riot. Such experimentation often seems to get lost in the AAA game industry space these days, with many publishers favoring low-risk iterations of proven franchises as opposed to true innovation. Enter indie games. As this book demonstrates, creativity and indie games go hand in hand. Developers can take risks and dare to be different, whether it's making a game completely from pixels, using the player's senses as a control method, or tackling taboo subjects such as cancer and depression. Not all games in this book have a retro aesthetic, but they all ooze creativity, and in their own way, change the world of gaming in manners both big and small. Yes, changing the world is hyperbole, but within this book, we wanted to shine a light on a category of games that dares to innovate and be different, paving the way for future generations of indie developers. When discussing the concept with Aaron, we all felt that it was vital that each chosen game include an interview with a member of the original development team. This way, you can get a first-hand knowledge of how the game was made and the thinking behind certain decisions, plus some idea of the myriad challenges they almost certainly faced along the way. We also felt it was vital to include concept art and initial design sketches with each game to give a behind-the-scenes look at how each game was made. This should further lift the lid on the amount of effort and time it takes to get an indie game developed, let alone published and released. Now, more than ever, the indie games market is facing unprecedented challenges, be it subscription service deals drying up, publishers generally tightening their belts due to overinvestment during COVID, and otherwise or more games than ever being released on Steam each year. So it's hard for most titles to stand out. It turns out indie games aren't immune to the economic headwinds facing gaming as a whole. Yet the developers behind them still find ways to preserve, fight back, and do everything possible to share their interactive projects with the world. When it came to selecting the 50 games, it was never going to be easy. We're not saying that these are the absolute best 50 indie games, but we've tried to show a range of titles across a range of different genres, all demonstrating an element of genius in their own unique ways. Games that didn't quite make the 50 are included in an honorable mentions chapter at the back of this book. We hope you enjoy leafing through these pages. Maybe you'll discover a game that you've not heard of, or it may inspire you to head to Steam and pick up one. The indie scene is incredibly important to game development, and we must all support the people making these titles. They often don't have huge marketing budgets or the skills and time to market their games like a big publisher can. Next time you're about to drop your hard-earned money on a AAA title, give one of the plethora of indie games a try. You won't be disappointed, and you'll be helping to keep a vibrant and key part of the industry alive. Bitmap Books 2024. Well, I definitely agree with everything that's stated here. Indie games is really the heart and soul of gaming, in my opinion, because it allows the people creating these games to do whatever they can do within their ability. The creativity behind it, just, their imagination can run wild with what they're doing, and they don't have to worry about investors and different people really, poking and prodding at what their idea originally was, at least for the most part. So I definitely agree with this. And one of the things that I like about modern gaming, as far as like the Nintendo Switch or Xbox, not only is the plethora of games on Steam great, but there's a lot of good physical releases that are also made for these indie publishers. And that's what I really like, is the physical side of it. Anyhow, let's look through the rest of this book and see what all they have to say and offer. All right, so here we're in the introduction. You'll notice here's a screenshot from Doom. It says, id Software launched the original 1993 Doom across 3 episodes, releasing the first for free and then the next 2 via mail order. Up here on top, it says, Newgrounds founder Tom Fulp made his point-and-click flash game Pico School in response to 1999's Columbine school shooting. So here we've got Shovel Knight. It says, Shovel Knight may take direct inspiration from Mega Man and DuckTales, but features modern mechanics and ideas of its own. So yeah, this is definitely a great series, these Shovel Knight games. We've got Cuphead. It says, the design of Cuphead evokes classic cartoon serials of the golden age with big eyes, squat stature, and rubbery limbs. Down here we've got an image from Axiom Verge. It says, Axiom Verge presents large bosses and on-screen animations of a kind that wouldn't have been possible on NES hardware. Yeah, so the point is, although it may look similar to like something you would have experienced on the NES, because of modern gaming, they're able to make something look similar to that, but with all the availability of newer tools and things they can do to make these games, which is definitely, I really like these modern twists on these older like 16-bit games where they make it look like an older game, but it's got a ton of different levels, different things you can do. Again, that would far exceed the capacity of those older consoles. All right, here we go, the 50 indie games. Beyond this page lie the stories behind 50 of the most influential indie games ever made, all of which shine a light on the effort and patience it takes to make an inventive idea a reality. This list is by no means definitive, being rather a distillation of what sets indie games apart from their AAA competition. Now this is neat, so it's got all 50 of the games laid out here. So if you want to just scroll to one of the games in particular, you can do that. It's got the page numbers. All right, so up first we've got 80 Days. Now I've never heard of 80 Days, but it says that it was released on July 31st of 2014. The genre is interactive fiction. It was developed by Inkle, and it was released on the PC, Switch, iOS, and Android. So this is a mobile game as well. Interesting. It says 80 Days helps you visualize Phileas Fogg's grand adventure using a fully 3D globe that charts all your chosen routes. Interesting. All right, look here, how it changed the world. Okay, by taking an existing story you thought you knew and brilliantly adapting it for mobile in a manner that highlights player choice. An inventive version of Jules Verne's classic, only possible in games. Very interesting. Of course, Among Us. Where would we be without Among Us? Released June 15th, 2018. The genre, action-adventure, developed by Innersloth. Platform, pretty much everything. So this game, in my opinion, is John Carpenter's The Thing. I mean, it's basically you have an imposter, a character that comes in, and they are posing to be just like everyone else, but then you have to eliminate your competitors without being caught. It's a very interesting game, very fun. Okay, it says here the team at Innersloth settled on the bean-like design of crewmates quickly to the point where little concept art exists. Okay, so you can see here how they were designing them. Here we go. How did this change the world? By giving people a way to communicate and socialize at a time when they needed it most. Among Us enabled people to stay connected through the power of online multiplayer. So I think what they're referring to here is COVID and that whole mess that everybody was in at that time. And this game became really popular during COVID, and people just getting online to play this game. So Axiom Verge, I have heard of this game and I definitely want to check it out. I know what it is, but I've actually not played it yet, so this is something that I will be checking out. It was released on March 31st, 2015. It is a Metroidvania style game. It was developed by Thomas Happ Games, and released on the PS4, Xbox One, PC, Wii U, and Switch. If I get it, it'll be for the Switch, and like I said, I am familiar with it and I want to pick it up. So down here it says, Axiom Verge pays homage to the look of the NES era by making ample use of deep block backgrounds and an 8-bit aesthetic. Yeah, it definitely looks great. So here it says, in this image up here above, learning all of Sudra's secrets requires players to explore its diverse locales, picking up abilities in true Metroid fashion. Over here on the left it says, events kick off when a lab experiment in New Mexico goes wrong, transporting scientists Trace to an alien planet. How did this game change the world? Axiom Verge took the atmosphere and look of the game that birthed the Metroidvania genre and modernized it for a new audience. Blasphemous. Okay, so here's another game that I'm familiar with, but I don't own, and I do want to pick it up. The prices on this game for the Switch have just went up to ridiculous amounts. It's like 100, 150 bucks for this game, but I definitely want to pick it up one of these days. This was released on September 10th of 2019. It's a Metroidvania action platformer developed by The Game Kitchen, and it was released on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Down here it states, despite being rendered purely in pixels, Blasphemous doesn't struggle to relay the Penitent One's gruesome actions in combat. This is pretty cool looking. So how did this game change the world? By being a brutal and bloody Metroidvania that isn't shy about its Souls-like influences, wearing them firmly on its sleeve to help highlight a lesser-known side of Spanish history and culture. Awesome. Here we go, Cuphead, which really doesn't need any introduction. I mean, this is a very, very well-made game. Released on September 29th, 2017. It's a run and gun, boss mash, shoot 'em up, whatever you want to call it. It's got a little bit of a lot of different things. Made by Studio MDHR, released for the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. This is an awesome game. So we can take a look at some of the artwork here. The artwork in this game is incredible. All the bosses, all the little images, the backgrounds, everything is so well done. Here we've got some concept art, more concept. And here we've got the woodpecker that gets you in one of the run and gun stages. How did it change the world? Cuphead utilized traditional hand-drawn animation techniques to construct a hard-as-nails run and gunner without compromise. The ultimate tribute to 1930s cartoons in video game format. Everything's good in this. The gameplay, the music is awesome, the visuals. This is a very well-made game. All right, here we go, Dead Cells. Released on August 7th, 2018, genre Metroidvania roguelike, developed by Motion Twin, and it was released on the PS4, 5, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Now we've got Dead Cells Castlevania, and it's a good game, it's well made. I'm just personally not real crazy about roguelikes. I would say the roguelike that I like the most would be probably The Binding of Isaac or Shotgun King as far as some of the modern games. I think they're well made, and it doesn't, like when you die, it doesn't, how would I say it? It doesn't get you as frustrated necessarily when you die, or at least not for me. This game, it's like you make all this progress or whatever, you die, and then you're starting over and everything. I don't know. It just, for me, roguelikes aren't as fun as other games, but these are very well made, the Dead Cells games. How did this game change the world? By providing a perfect blend of the roguelike and Metroidvania genres, creating one of the most satisfying gameplay loops found in either genre as a result. All right, here we've got Grease. I've heard of this. I haven't played it. I have heard of it. It's released on December 13th of 2018. It's a platform adventure developed by Nomada Studio. And this was released on the PS4, 5, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Notice it says down here, the lack of voiceover or text means Grease has to convey an overwhelming amount of meaning and depth through visuals alone. Definitely looks really nice. I mean, the contrast, the way all the colors go really well together in the character, it looks very nice. All right, how did it change the world? By using color and a lack of words to present an extremely nuanced narrative focused on discussing harsher human emotions you wouldn't find elsewhere. Here's a popular game, Hades. It's released on September 17th of 2020. This is the genre is walking simulator and roguelike, developed by Supergiant Games, released on pretty much everything, even it looks like on mobile devices. You see the artwork looks pretty cool. So how did it change the world? By seamlessly intertwining the repeatable, rewarding gameplay loop of a roguelike with the engaging plot and characters of a narrative-driven game, Hades makes advancing the story an equal reward.
No Zeus, of course. Again. Got you that time.
Now here's one I haven't heard of. This looks kind of interesting. I don't know if interesting in a good way or bad way, but it does look interesting. It's called Her Story, released on June 24th of 2015 by Sam Barlow. This is an interactive movie, okay? Released on PC, iOS, and Android. It says, all of Her Story takes place within the confines of a desktop computer screen, blending aspects of FMV and text adventure. Interesting. Definitely never heard of it, but it's original, it's interesting, which is what makes these indie games really special. Let's see what it says here. How did it change the world? Her Story provided the FMV, full motion video subgenre with the reboot it required, reinventing how live-action clips could be used to tell an intriguing story based on player agency while on a limited budget.
This is the third day running you've called me in. Hurt someone? You think it's murder? I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
So here we've got an interesting one. We've got Hypnospace Outlaw. Never heard of it, but it was released on March 12th of 2019. It's an internet simulator. I'm not even sure what that means. I guess it just looks like you're online. Interesting. Looks like it was released on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. It says the fictional version of the internet is accessed through a browser called Hypnospace Explorer that people access at night. Yeah, I've never heard of this, but I wonder exactly what you're supposed to do when maybe you're trying to search for things. I'm not sure what you would be doing online. Artie Dispenza. Looks like we've got like an FL Studio or something, music creation software. So how did Hypnospace Outlaw change the world? Hypnospace Outlaw calls back to the late 1990s online culture by being an affectionate and purposely zany internet simulator, highlighting how people and their personalities are more valuable than products. Well, that's a true statement.
Volunteer as an HSPD enforcer today. Browse citizen pages for suspicious content. Check your inbox. Monitor HypnoChat for suspicious content. Care for a wide assortment of adorable virtual pets.
I noticed that you've been using the leisure application Virtual Pet for 14 minutes.
Search for suspicious content. Track down scumbag violators and outlaws. Warp to the hypnospace highway.
Cool punk paradise.
Upgrade your cruiser with special abilities. Wrestle against adware, viruses, hackers, and rogue artificial intelligence.
Your computer is infected with a virus. Run HypnoCure now.
Interact with Hypnospace partner brands. Delicious. Delicious. And much, much more. Bedtime just got a whole lot hipper.
All right, here we got Limbo. We have this game. We've played through it completely. It's a fun game. It looks like it was released July 21st, 2010. I didn't realize it was that old now. Looks like it's a cinematic puzzle platformer, which is right. And it was released on PS3, 4, Vita, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PC, and Switch. So you basically see the shadow, if you will, of your character, and you're platforming and solving all these different puzzles throughout the game. Without trying to survive. Some of these puzzles, it's very difficult and you end up dying 100 times before you figure it out, but very fun game, Limbo. Here's some of the artwork, the visuals from it look very good. I can remember the spider here. And what's neat about the artwork, it's not that it's really detailed. Again, you see like these shadows, but it really looks neat the way that they did it. How did Limbo change the world? Easily one of the most iconic indie platformers ever, Limbo's decision to lean into the minimalistic and abstract renders it the ultimate descent into darkness and mystery. Yes. Okay, here's an interesting looking game, Octodad Deadliest Catch. I've never heard of this. Looks like it was released January 30th of 2014. It's a fumble core adventure. I don't even know what fumble core is. Interesting. PS4, Vita, Xbox One, PC, Wii U, Switch, and iOS. So it says, even the simplest tasks are often tough to perform due to Octodad Deadliest Catch's purportedly awkward and hilarious controls. So you just have to do regular tasks, it looks like, as an octopus, but it's hard to do anything because of the controls. I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe it made it to the book. Maybe it's decent. But I find myself getting very frustrated when controls are just real kind of all over the place. How did this game change the world? By playing a key part in proving that comedy is something that can be accomplished through player interaction, and firmly cementing the so-called fumblecore genre centered on purposely awkward controls. Yeah, okay. So fumblecore means that the controls are purposely awkward. Interesting. Well, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of this game. I don't know where I've been. I guess I've been in the dark or something, but interesting. Here's a popular game, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So released on March 11th, 2015 and March 11th, 2020. It's Metroidvania. It's a very nice looking game. Here it states, it's hard not to be instantly arrested by the colors and art style of both Ori games, which are made to appear dreamlike. Yes, it looks very neat. Look how pretty the background and everything is, and the character design. It's very well done. Over here we've got a bunch of, looks like artist renders of this character when they were developing it. So how did Ori change the world? The Ori games combine masterful platforming mechanics with lush, painterly visuals to create one of the best feeling and looking non-AAA Metroidvania duologies ever. Here we go. This is interesting looking. I've never heard of it. Return of the Obra Dinn. This was released October 18th in 2018. It's a detective puzzle game. That sounds fun. Looks like it was released on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. It says down here, Return of the Obra Dinn's one-bit aesthetic is unlike most other detective games and means you have to work slightly harder. Okay. Well, the images and everything look pretty neat here. So how did this change the world? Fueled by the uniqueness of its one-bit aesthetic, Return to the Obra Dinn charted a course to become one of the best detective games of all time. Player intuition is the tool prioritized above all others. That sounds pretty cool.
Bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Come on before she kicks off.
Here, let me help you.
What madness is this? Keep rowing! Where is it? Let them go!
All right, here we go, Shovel Knight. Obviously, this has become a very popular game series. Definitely a fun game to play. It says released June 26th of 2014. It's an action platformer. Released on PS3, 4, Vita, Xbox One, PC, 3DS, Wii U, and Switch. All right, it says, no hero is complete without a rival. And in Shovel Knight's case, the appropriately named Black Knight takes on that role. Yeah, check him out. You can tell he's the bad guy. He's got all the artwork and everything here. It looks great. So how did Shovel Knight change the world? By channeling the look, feel, and overall vibe of an NES game to make a modern release evocative of that era, while having the foresight to not ever be restricted by it. A triumphant tribute to its influences. Here we've got Spelunky. This is a fun game, and it's become pretty popular. Obviously, it made it to this book, but if you haven't heard of it, it's definitely fun to play. It was released December 21st of 2008. I didn't realize it was that old. Wow. Platformer, roguelike. It's released on PS3, 4, Vita, Xbox 360, PC, and Switch. So you got to run through and do these different like puzzles and platforming and different things of that nature. Like I said, it's a fun game. So how did Spelunky change the world? Spelunky popularized the roguelike concept among a whole generation of indie developers, while also helping to educate players that failure was something to be learned from. Definitely. In roguelikes, you're definitely going to learn from failure.
This is Spelunky, the game where you have only one life, 4 bombs, 4 ropes, and infinite possibilities, because the levels change every time you play.
So here we go, Super Meat Boy. This is a cool game. Super Meat Boy Forever is also a very cool game. I mean, it's a platforming game. There's a lot of action going on. You got to really be quick with your movements and everything of the character because you'll be bouncing all over the place, avoiding different obstacles. It's a very fun game. Let's see what it says here. Vertical platforming challenges pop up just as often as horizontal ones in Super Meat Boy. Yes, definitely. Fun game. It was released October 20th of 2010. Wow, I didn't realize it was quite that old. Time flies. Developed by Team Meat, and it's on PS4, Vita, Xbox One, PC, Wii U, and Switch. I didn't realize it was released for the Wii U. Interesting. Here's some character design artwork. And you can tell by the artwork here that they've got, it's very similar to The Binding of Isaac because it's the same guy. But yeah, very fun style of artwork. How did Super Meat Boy change the world? Super Meat Boy remains the gold standard for indie 2D platformers, pairing tight controls with ingenious level design to make failure fun, fulfilling, and something to be learned from. That Dragon, Cancer. Now, things just got really serious here. I've never heard of this game, but I mean, this is the 6-letter bad word that unfortunately everybody, I think, knows about and has probably been affected by one way or the other. Looks like this was released January 12th of 2016. It's a first-person adventure released on PC, iOS, and what's this say? Oh yeah. So I don't know what this game is. I've never played it. It says character models being expressionless and free of detail gives the greens recorded voices lines more weight and emotion. Okay, so it sounds like that they've got a lot of dialogue in the game, and you don't actually see the emotions on the face, so you're going to allow the sound of the voices to paint your own picture of what their face would look like. That's interesting. So how did this game change the world? By discussing one of the most sensitive human topics imaginable. That Dragon, Cancer serves as a purposely devastating experience that helps cement video games as a true art form.
Farmer Bill plays building blocks with the cows. Farmer Bill races the horse and Farmer Bill wins. My shoes were untied.
What does Joel love? Wawa. In cups, bathtubs, and the warm, wet tongues and the cool fur of Das. And maybe the sweet mois of daily affection.
Do you know how they celebrate off-treatment day, like when kids are done with their treatments? I guess maybe you don't because you're not in the clinic as much as I am, but on someone's last day, they always bring them a cake and they sing Happy Off Therapy Day to you.
I'm sorry, guys. It's not good.
Basically, he thinks we should move forward with the radiation, and it kind of freaks me out, but...
Here we go. The Binding of Isaac. This is Eli and Russ's. This is one of their favorite games. This is Pabst O'Ban's favorite games. Shout out to him if he's listening to this. But The Binding of Isaac, this is made by the same guy that did Super Meat Boy. This is a cool game. It is a roguelike style game, but I enjoy this game. I think it's interesting. I like the nature of the artwork, how everything kind of ties in together, getting these abilities to see how far you can go. I think it's a unique game. It was released September 28th of 2011. It's an action adventure. It is, again, like a roguelike style game. But The Binding of Isaac is really cool. Okay, it says here, Isaac's primary method of attack is the tears that he cries, which act as projectiles that can be later enhanced and customized. Yeah, so you pick up all kinds of modifications and things to the character in this game, and then you can do all sorts of different things. It's a pretty neat game. And the fact, too, that when you're playing this, you may encounter different bosses every time you do it. It's pretty cool. Here's some character art design. See a couple of the images from the game here. This is the store where you can buy things. So how did The Binding of Isaac change the world? By combining an endlessly enjoyable gameplay loop with dark themes and morbid imagery. The Binding of Isaac proved that there's power in not compromising on your ideas. Here's a big one, Undertale. This has spawned a couple different games. Very well made. It's got a neat story to it. It's neat gameplay mechanic to it. Very well made. Released December 15th, 2015. This is an RPG, and it was released on PS4, Vita, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. Here it says, the underground may be weird and wacky, but the characters living there still find time to celebrate holidays like Christmas. Here's the combat mechanic, if you will. Whenever you're fighting against somebody, there's these neat things that you got to dodge and avoid and do different things. Again, this is an RPG, but it's kind of neat how they got the fights set up, or the battles. How did Undertale change the world? Undertale flips the idea of a traditional RPG on its head, using its framework to make players consider options other than killing, all within an intriguing world comprised of quirky characters. Yeah, so you don't actually have to kill. There's different ways that you can play this game where you're not hurting others and things. So it's a very interesting game, and the way they did it, I think it's very well executed. All right, so here we've got some honorable mentions. As eye-catching and symbolic as the number 50 might be, it was never going to be big enough to encapsulate the full level of brilliance the indie game scene is capable of. These are equally as worthy honorable mentions that also changed the world in their own unique ways. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I've never heard of this. Came out September 8th, 2010. Survival horror game, released on PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, PC, and Switch. You can see right here on this picture it says, Amnesia's castle setting feels extra authentic thanks to Frictional Games' decision to include real-life historical paintings. Interesting. Okay, so it says right here, designer Thomas Grip wanted darkness itself to be just as dangerous as grunts, with both impacting the in-game sanity meter. Wow, so it's got a sanity meter. I think mine expired a long time ago. Cave Story. Now, I have heard of this game. Cave Story, December 4th of 2004. Wow, I didn't realize it was that old now. Metroidvania, released on PC, Wii, 3DS, and Switch. Celeste, I've also heard of Celeste. This came out January 25th, 2018, 2D platformer, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. I haven't played this, but I've heard some pretty good things about it. Here we've got Disco Elysium. I've never heard of it. It looks like it came out October 15th of 2019. It's an RPG. Don't Starve. Interesting. Never heard of that. It's a survival game. Came out April 23rd of 2013. Released on PS4, Vita, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. I guess you got to find food to eat. Minecraft. Jesus. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about Minecraft. How the hell did Minecraft not make it? Minecraft has to be one of the biggest, most popular games of all time. I'm glad that they at least included it in the honorable mentions, but this should have definitely made it to the top 50. I'm not sure why it's not there. Release date, November 18th of 2011. Creative sandbox survival. Yeah, what makes this game special? Yeah, you can go in and do this adventure mode, where you can actually die and everything. Or if you just want to build and create things, you can do that. And it really, I think, allows kids to use their imagination of whatever they want to create. It's a great game. Outer Wilds, I am familiar with it, but I haven't played it. This was released May 28th of 2019. It's an action-adventure game. Looks like it was released for the PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, PC, and Switch, so pretty much everything. Here we've got Terraria. I've heard of this. I haven't played it, but I have heard of it. It's supposed to be a pretty decent game. Released May 16, 2011. It's a sandbox adventure. And then lastly, we've got the Stanley Parable. I've heard of this game. I haven't played it, but I have heard of it. It was released October 17, 2013. It's an adventure walking simulator. It looks like it was released on the PS4, 5, Xbox One, Series XS, PC, and Switch, so pretty much everything. Now, one thing I don't see here, and they stated it in here. Obviously, they've only got so much space. There's a ton of different indie games. But one indie game that I really like a lot is Faith. And I would have liked to have seen it in this book. I think it's a very original game. The way it takes these very primitive graphics, like from the Atari 2600, and it just makes it this horror game. And it works really well. I really wish they would have put that in this book.
When you get hold of Faith, the unholy trinity for Nintendo Switch. When you send the demons back to hell with your holy crucifix. When you experience unspeakable supernatural horror. Now you're playing with Faith. Faith, the unholy trinity for the Nintendo Switch system. Remember, Carrie loves you.
Minecraft should have been one of those 50. I don't think it should have been in the honorable mentions. But yeah, anyways, this is definitely a good book. There's a lot of different information. I've just skimmed through this. I didn't cover all the different games in here. I just went through some of the ones I knew and some of the ones that kind of got my attention that I wasn't familiar with as I was flipping through this. But as in every other case, I mean, Bitmap Books knocks it out of the park here. Another great book by them. I highly recommend it. If you're into indie games, you're into collecting video games or information about video games, definitely check out Bitmap Books, the 50 indie games that changed the world.
All right, everyone, you just seen us flip through the 50 indie games that changed the world by Bitmap Books. Now, this is a very well-made book. Everything from the binding, the way it looks, all the content within. It's a really fun book to read through. And, this book is a little different than their others. A lot of their others is really just based upon video game history and preservation and what all information they could dig up on those games. And this is different because it goes into the actual making of a lot of these indie games. There's a lot of discussions with people who actually made the games. And I think that really opens my eyes anyways to what goes into a lot of this. So again, I really like this book, and I think it stands apart from a lot of the other books that they've made, and it's pretty neat. If you're into retro gaming, if you're into new modern gaming or indies, or just some type of video game history or more information, I think you would like this book. If you're looking at getting something for somebody for Christmas, it's a little different, and they're into video games, then I think they would like it. Thanks for tuning in the video. We really appreciate it, and until next time, keep gaming.